So we're coming down to the wire a week to go, and the one great thing about social media, if you're a recruiting fan, I mean, my gosh, we're seeing picture after picture after picture, a commitment with a coach. And if you're watching on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel, a picture of Marcus Freeman out on the road, Tommy Reese as well. So what's happening right now, newsworthy wise, with the coaches out going basically coast to coast?
Yeah, it's a lot of just seeing the commits. Like Notre Dame's 23, like recruiting for uncommitted guys is pretty much over. Kind of working on some things behind the scenes, maybe, but it's really just keeping your guys who are committed solid. Picture on the like you mentioned for YouTube folks, you got Marcus Schumann and Tommy Reese with quarterback pledge Kenny Minchie, who has cut his hair. He's got a short cut. Just a few other pictures to show for YouTube audience. Got Marcus Freeman, Reese, receivers coach, Chancey Stuckey with receiver commit, Jaden Greathouse. And then there's even transfer visits. Like the coaching staff is allowed to go out and see some transfer portal targets. And you had Virginia Tech wide receiver Caleb Smith, who I believe was the team's leading receiver last year. He will be visiting Notre Dame this weekend, and he tweeted out a picture of him and Stuckey and said that he really appreciated the visit. So Darren, yeah, it's busy for Notre Dame again, and Marcus Freeman seeing their commits in this 23 class. They're also stopping by high schools of top 2024 targets and commits. Now, the 23 class, you can have these in-home visits, right? You're going out to breakfast, dinner with the recruits. You can have the off-campus contact, but still when they go out and see the juniors, the high school, 2024 players, that is just that bump rule, right? That we've talked so much about. So they can't have that in-depth contact. And then the transfers, they can spend a good bit of time with them. So again, busy week. I believe this is the last week out on the road. Monday's a dead period again, right ahead of signing day. So yeah, it's a week until National Signing Day, Darren, and some days are quiet, some days are not. Today's at least as of right now, it's a quieter day, but that can change at the drop of a hat.
You just jinx yourself.
I know,
All
right?
right. You mentioned there's a lot of things that are going on right now. Sometimes there are rumors that end up being reality. Oftentimes there are rumors that are just rumors. So there's some speculation that Jeremiah Love is getting a lot of love right now from Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines. Now he's a Notre Dame commitment, and I would say a very important recruit at the running back position, especially after Edwards left the class. So anything to worry about here?
A couple thoughts, Darren. In this, what I'm about to say on Love really applies about like every recruit. It's that Notre Dame feels good. He's going to sign. My sources close to the Irish program, are like, there's really nothing to see here. But you'd be a fool to rule anything out. Darren, our video where we talked about Dylan Edwards and Coach Prime, where I was like, he's not flipping. Everyone I talked to was like, he's not flipping. And then he flips. That video got like 60,000 views. Something went crazy. And then he flips. And I look like an idiot. And I feel like one. You just can't say anything definitive in recruiting, especially this close to signing day. But with Love, I can only tell you guys what I'm told, and that's that he's solid with Notre Dame. Dylan McCullough is in St. Louis today and is expected to have an extended visit with Jeremiah Love. This just a supreme talent at the running back position. Might be the pound for pound best overall athlete in Notre Dame's 2023 class, which is certainly saying something because it's an outstanding group. So very important for Notre Dame to keep Love locked in, especially considering Edwards flipped to Colorado and Jaden Lamar, the running back from Washington. Yeah, it's not a guarantee that he signs to Notre Dame because Oregon's been pushing him late. So Love might be Notre Dame's most important player in this class right now, quarterback aside. Again, Darren, feel like Notre Dame's going to probably have no problem signing him, but it's just like the Michigan rumors to come out right now. It just seems strange. So We're all kind of jaded to the point where it's hard to trust anything as a definitive in recruiting. And I'm right there with you, Irish fans. But again, can only go off my intel.
I'm still trying to get over 50 to 60,000 people watching us talk recruiting. That's crazy.
Coach Prime.
I
Prime
thought it was Coach Prime and Mike Singer was the reason why. Okay, Mike Singer, Darren Pritchett with you, Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat, our Notre Dame football recruiting update. So as expected, Michael Mayer entered the NFL draft, not going to play in the Gator Bowl, got robbed of the Mackey Award. You've got Kane Barong this week deciding to go into the transfer portal. Now, Notre Dame has had a lot of depth through the years at the tight end position, and they're still in pretty good shape right now. We saw a picture today on Twitter of Kevin Bauman looking good in the rehab process, so he's important. So as you look at the future of the tight end position, I know the 23 class has one player in it. They're working on the 24 class. Do you feel like the future of the tight end position is in good hands right now?
I do. Yeah, I absolutely do. And yeah, Kevin Bauman, 8 weeks after ACL/meniscus tear, crushing a 185-pound squat today in rehab. That was the picture that Rob Hunt posted today on Twitter. So yeah, you definitely like to see that. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, you lose Michael Mayer, that's not ideal. You go from Cole Kmet to Tommy Tremble to Michael Mayer. That's quite the back to back to back there. And I'm sure you can go many more back to back. I mean, you could list, like, again, going back to Anthony Fasano, right? Yeah. All these Notre Dame tight ends. But it does look good. I think Holden Stays, that's a talented and young player right now. He's looked good as a freshman. Eli Raridan, I think, was going to be the guy. All this, like, you've seen Mitchell Evans this year. I want to say that Eli Raridan might have kind of taken that second tight end role if he weren't getting hurt. After Bauman's injury. So injuries have certainly derailed that position a little bit post after Michael Mayer. But, when you look at next year, you get Bauman back, Raridan back. You just hope that those guys have full recoveries, nothing lingering there. You feel good about Holden Stays. I'm sure there's another tight end. Mitchell Evans, I still think is a really intriguing talent. Outside of his
Sherwood.
QB sneaks. Yeah, Davis Sherwood, think the world of him. And then Cooper Flanagan, a 4-star tight end from Northern California, comes in as a true freshman. He'll get to Notre Dame over the summer. A guy who Notre Dame, he was one of their very first targets at tight end in this 23 cycle. And this is Notre Dame's, interestingly enough, Darren, first class since 2019 of taking one tight end. Unless something changes, right? Got to throw that out there. I don't believe Notre Dame's recruiting a second tight end in this senior high school group, but I think that's an interesting side note. But as someone who Alabama had really wanted, he had offers from LSU and Miami and Tennessee. The list really, it just kind of went on and on. For Flanagan, who is a good all-around tight end, he blocks well, but at the high school level, got more involved in the passing game this season. Is just plays for one of those triple option veer teams. So didn't get a ton of targets, but someone who, when you see him out at these 7-on-7s and stuff, is really an outstanding receiving talent as well. And then moving even to the 2024 class, I know your folks are probably thinking, man, Mike, I don't even know if these kids are going to sign next week. Now you're talking to me about high school juniors. Well, listen, like, the numbers are dropping, but still, if a player commits to Notre Dame, there's probably like over 80% chance he signs. Maybe that number is creeping a little bit lower. But still, Jack Larson's very solidly committed to Notre Dame, made that pledge back over the summer, and then a couple tight end targets for the Irish in the junior class. Brady Prescorn up in Michigan, as well as Carter Nelson, who I wrote a story on Wednesday at blueandgold.com. He's from Ainsworth, Nebraska, rural, town in Nebraska. He only plays 8-man football, but 7 foot, what was it, high jump and an 11.05 meter, which is a very impressive time considering he's about 6'5", 210 pounds. So that's kind of the recruiting roster outlook for Notre Dame at tight end. And I'll also mention, Eric All was a Michigan tight end who entered the transfer portal and committed to Iowa today. It's my understanding that Notre Dame was looking at him. So
Mm.
I'm not. I think there's a possibility of Notre Dame getting a transfer tight end. Um, so definitely not a guarantee. I'd be speaking, out of turn if I said that. But if they recruit at all, I'm sure they're recruiting some others.